All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Hirobe Talks podcast. I'm really excited for this one. Sat here with a good old friend. Those of you that don't know from the Adobe world, I'm with Brad Bedford. Brad, do you want to give yourself a little intro? Tell us about yourself.
For sure. What's up, everybody? Brad Bedford from Denver, Colorado. I'm a part of the Adobe Experience Cloud organization focusing in marketing. And my particular role focuses on our user group and champion programs in our advocate kind of section. So that's where I live in the Adobe sphere, if you will.
Awesome. Yeah, I know most of my Marketo connections here will obviously know yourself, Brad. You've got a great rep within the sort of Adobe community. So talk to me a little bit about the Adobe User Group Advocacy Program. Sort of, what is it and what's your role there?
Yep, for sure. So the user group and champion programs for Marketo have been going for 15 plus years, well before the Marketo acquisition took place for Adobe. So there is a large historical knowledge base of what these groups are. But for those who don't know, our user groups are either use case or geography-based groups that meet on a regular basis to kind of just network, share war stories, tips and tricks, networking, kind of creating like a local group of people that are using the Marketo software together to kind of support each other. A lot of connects for new jobs kind of come through these groups as well. So people love to kind of connect with folks that way. And so we have customers and partner leaders that lead these groups. So these are not Adobe-led groups at all. These are purely customer-driven conversations and content, which is part of the huge desire and why they've been so successful for such a long time. So we have about 90 chapters that exist around the world with around 12,000 members that meet an average of 200 times a year. So it's definitely a very, very active group. And we're really, really happy with where the program is going. We're starting to do a lot more education and enablement for our user group leaders directly from the Marketo Engage product team, because there's so many great innovations coming out, even like this month with like the WYSIWYG editor as an example, or the new CRM connectors that a lot of folks have been asking about for a very long time. So we're giving these folks a lot of ammo to kind of hold their meetings and give valuable intel to their user base and to their members.
Awesome. Yeah, I always see, on my LinkedIn, whenever there's a meetup, like I've seen you guys in sort of London or the US or, different regions, and everyone sort of gets together. So it's got a real good community feel for it, which is awesome.
Yeah. Most of the chapters are in the US, as you can imagine, right? US based company, but a lot in EMEA as well. Ireland, London, as you mentioned, the Netherlands, Germany, Spain is very, very active, and the Nordics even. And so, but we're always looking to kind of, expand. So if anyone's watching this video and they're in a place where they, have a great user or, community or network of Marketo users and they want some support from Adobe to kind of get things going and make it official, I'm your guy. Get in touch and we'll make it happen.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd be happy to make intros there as well, mate. If I obviously know anyone, do like a Marketo meetup in Iceland or something. I know you mentioned and alluded to sort of the advocacy program. So, are there any upcoming features or things to get excited about within that program that's coming in 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked a little bit about the user group program, which is kind of like a revolving door that happens constantly, right? It's kind of like every month or every few weeks, honestly, there's something going on with the user group. But what we're actually doing is for the champion program, which is the other program that I'm focused on. We have a yearly application process that goes through, starts in May, and it goes through just the month of May. But the cycle that you can expect is that you apply in May, and then you'll hear back from us on the selection process right around August, and then we announce the new champion class in September. And the champion class is a little bit more unique. That is a more of an application to selection process, whereas the user group program, everybody can join in. The champion program is a little bit more selective because we're looking for the best of the best, our most outspoken, knowledgeable champions that we have. So this program is probably more has more notoriety than the user group program does, just because there are some requirements to become a champion. Like you have to have your Marketo certification, your MCE. And then we also don't necessarily keep you in the program every year. If you're not doing the things that we expect of you, you might not make it next year. But we also have a great kind of group of alumni champions that are very, very fond and very, very close to the program still. So it is kind of joining like a fraternal network of folks that you always will be staying in touch with for the long term. And there's a lot of benefits to this. These are the folks that most likely are going to be speaking at Adobe Summit, speaking at skill exchange sessions, being highlighted in webinars, or connecting with the product team on future innovations, or giving feedback on like, hey, we're thinking about going this way direction for Marketo, or we're thinking about kind of this new feature. What's your feedback? Does this make sense in your use case? So that's a lot of the kind of the benefits of the program. And then also, just like I mentioned, we highlight these individuals as being the best and the best. So a lot of the Marketo community as a whole looks at these individuals as thought leaders, content creators, and influencers to be like, hey, I really want to follow, this person because they have incredible information on AI, or they're coming out with a new webinar series on this topic that I really think is going to apply to my use case and help me better use Marketo Engage. All of these programs as a whole, whether it be champions, user groups, or a few other ones that we have, it's all about helping users utilize Marketo Engage better. And I know that it's sometimes a difficult product, it's complex, but it's also what makes it beautiful, right? It's so customizable. And that's the reason why it's been around for so long, and why Adobe acquired Marketo in 2019. So a lot of benefits to it. And the big thing that we're just trying to kind of bring awareness to through these programs is that you're not alone. You might be a team of one. You might have just gotten hired. You're fresh out of school and you're not sure like what Marketo Engage is all about. This is what this program is all about, helping you learn how to use this tool to better do your job.
Awesome. I love that. And I love that something I didn't know as well is that obviously the champions are, I suppose it's like renewing that expertise. They have to stay on top of the game year on year. Like that's really impressive, and I think it speaks testament to
we
them
set a
as
high
well.
bar. And by we, I mean the champion groups. And there's a little level of competition, right? There's a little bit of like, oh, I see that person's doing this. I want to do better so I can get to that portion. So it's really, really, really exciting that we see what's happening with the champion program. The other thing I was going to mention as well is we are bringing as many champions as we can to Adobe Summit this year in Las Vegas. And what we're going to be doing is actually setting up little 30-minute connects for live in-person kind of one-on-one sessions between a customer and a champion to talk about whatever you want. Whether it be like, I am struggling with smart campaigns, database management, reporting, integrations, velocity scripting, whatever it may be. We have champions who are experts in all of these fields. So if you're coming to Adobe Summit and you're looking to actually kind of like, hey, I want to kind of connect with these folks, see how they can help me, get in touch. We can make it happen for you.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know you mentioned obviously Summit looks great again this year. Really exciting times. How could Adobe users, I suppose, make the most of Summit this year and connect with Adobe teams that are going there?
Yeah, I would say the first thing, I think connecting with Adobe teams is easy. There's a big Adobe square right in the middle, right? You can't miss it. We're probably wearing a vest like this because it's actually the vest from last year's Summit, actually. Whatever this, the swag piece will be this year that we're all wearing, it'll be tough to miss us. But I think each one of the Experience Cloud solutions will have its own booth inside of this kind of Adobe square inside of the community pavilion. So you'll have a group to talk about, hey, I'm looking at this new innovation, or I'm looking for a demo on this, or can I use, Commerce and Workfront together to support, my B2C clients, or whatever it may be. Your answers will be there from an Adobe person. I think the other things that I'd mention as well is that there's over 200 sessions that are taking place live. Most of those are led by Adobe folks, but the real sessions that I recommend going to are on Thursday morning, and these are our skill exchange sessions. So these are our sessions led by customers to highlight a specific use case that they are an expert in. Kind of like a quick, 20, 30-minute deep dive on a specific feature or functionality in AEM, Analytics, Marketo Engage, Workfront, Commerce, AJO, CJA. Like we'll have experts there kind of talking about all of those things. So no matter what Experience Cloud solution you have, or if you're looking to just explore, like, hey, I'm trying to dip my foot into the Adobe swimming pool, and this is like, there's so much going on in here, and I really don't know what to do. This is part of what this summit's all about, is kind of educating the entire world about, like, hey, this is what's coming out in Adobe. These are the innovations that are taking place for this year. So those are the things that I'd recommend. First and second, we like sessions, as I mentioned, and then these skill exchange sessions that happen on Thursday. But also Sneaks is another great one. And Sneaks is kind of like our preview of what's to come, like a coming attractions that you get before a movie theater, right? This is where the actual product management teams who are working on the next big thing present on what that thing is to the entire Adobe community. So if you're really interested in seeing what the future innovations of an Adobe solution are, Sneaks is the thing you can't miss.
Awesome. No, thank you for that. I think that's, I'll obviously be making mental notes, and I'll rewatch this back. We're hoping to go out to Summit and definitely be attending a few of those sessions for sure. Sound incredible. And I think, if anyone's in the Adobe ecosystem or trying to even get in there, massive upskilling opportunity there. And yeah, great chance to learn a few new things as well. Now, I know obviously you've sort of alluded to it and talked about the Adobe champion process. So can you talk a little bit more about the selection criteria? What do you look for from an Adobe champion?
Yes. So these are the folks that have done the most outstanding acts of advocacy. So by act of advocacy, you're probably asking, like, what is that? Right? Really what it comes down to is, how much do you want to help the people around you get better at this Marketo or analytics or AEM software? I specifically focus on Marketo, but we have programs currently for analytics and AEM. We're also going to be starting new programs this year for Workfront and Commerce. So I know there's been a lot of folks that have been asking, like, hey, when's the Workfront group coming? When's the Commerce group coming? Great news. It's this year. So start doing what I'm about to tell you about, which are these acts of advocacy. These acts of advocacy are things like being active and answering questions in the Experience League communities, educating your fellow peers inside of your company. Are you kind of like a mentor to other folks as they learn these new solutions? Have you been attending these user groups that take place all around the world? Are you coming to Adobe Summit? Are you speaking at Adobe webinars? Are you networking with fellow customers in your local community or in your local use case? Those are the type of things that we're looking for, so that we can elevate these folks to a level where their content creation is not just helping maybe the people just around them in their sphere, but the entire community of folks that are using that solution. So it's the champion program is not where we expect people to start making this content or start making those connections and helping out their networks. This is kind of like the reward after doing this for years or months even. We are looking for folks that are experienced, probably been using the software for 3+ maybe 5+ years. We are looking for those type of as industry experts. And it's not just customers. I think that's one of the big things that people are always asking me about, is that, like, hey, I'm not just a customer, I'm also a partner. Or I'm just a consultancy, or I'm an agency. We definitely accept those folks into our program, because we know that our communities would not be as successful as they are with just customers, right? There's a lot of kind of back and forth takes place with customers and partners and consultancies and agencies. So we're looking for a wide variety of folks all across the globe. So we don't just have folks that are in America. That is the big thing. We have folks all around the globe. It is an English-focused program, so we do require you to speak English, but it doesn't have to be your first language. If you speak Portuguese, Italian, German, Spanish, Japanese, Chinese, whatever it is, we definitely know that there are underserved communities that we are looking to elevate through champions who speak different languages. So just this year, we've kind of really started to see more groups developing in Portuguese and Spanish. So we're looking to do even more in German, Italian, Japanese, Chinese. So those are the things that we're really looking for.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that's really good to know as well for people that are considering, like, okay, I've worked with Marketo for 5, 6 years. I'd love to get involved. Like, that's very good to know. I think, yeah, something to look into, because I know that, the champions are an elite group of people, very
Yes.
well regarded. And I suppose lastly, Brad, what are your plans, for 2025? Is there anything big on the horizon in sort of Adobe land at the minute?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I think the biggest things that are happening for the Marketo world first, I would say, is really the focus on these big innovations that are coming out with the new email editors, the new CRM integrations, the upscaling into AJO B2B for more of an enterprise focus. So I think there's a lot of things happening in Marketo Engage. But I think the biggest and exciting things that I've seen from an Experience Cloud perspective is the connections and integrations between the Creative Cloud suite, so that's like the Photoshop of the world, into these Experience Cloud solutions. And not just like direct integrations, but then integrations that help the creative juices flow from creative people that live in Creative Cloud into these more B2B focused solutions with direct integrations to like Adobe Express and Adobe Firefly. So I think those are the biggest things that I've seen as a huge benefit to marketing operations and marketing professionals, is that instead of having to like kick things back over to a creative organization or having to rely on rounds of edits, you yourself can quickly give an example of like, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking for, and then quickly go either put that directly into your content or work with a creative team or internal or external team to create that type of content to put into whatever type of marketing app material that you're looking to get out there into the world.
Awesome. That is really exciting as well. And I think, for myself, I am really excited for the new sort of advocacy programs, as you mentioned, across sort of Workfront and commerce, the champion programs there. And I think what that'll do for the Adobe community as well, really exciting times. Obviously very excited for Summit as well, because it's going to be another incredible year, I'm sure. It's always a great event. Are you going to be at Summit yourself as well then, Brad?
I am. I'll be at Summit the day before and all the way through Thursday for sure. So yeah, I'm really excited about all the things we have planned. We got Experience Maker Awards on Monday night, Tuesday opening keynote, general sessions. Then we actually have on Tuesday, one of the huge benefits of being in these user group and champion programs. We have a kind of like an exclusive gala reception just for these folks to kind of celebrate all of what they've done throughout the year. So they'll be taking those folks to a nice little celebration on Tuesday evening. And then Wednesday is where we do Sneaks and then Bash. And Sneaks and Bash, as I mentioned, Sneaks is kind of that like coming attractions type portion. And Bash is the big party. So last year it was Shaq. Somehow he pulled me on stage and I got to, hang out with Shaq for a few minutes. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to top that for 2025.
No.
But we'll see who it is. And then Thursday is those skill exchange sessions and kind of wrapping things up on those final days. So yes, Summit's a great time to go to. And I mentioned like a lot of the sessions and things that you go to, but the other thing is that's included with your Summit registration is that you can get certified. So if you're really looking for like a way like to justify with your leadership team of like, hey, what's a way that I can, make a huge benefit of me leaving, not just with knowledge that I can bring back to my team, but with something tangible, you can come get certified. And that's open all 3 days of Summit. So that's probably one of those like secret things that's like not as well known as it should be. So I'm glad I got to shout that out today, is that come to Summit, come get certified, leave, not only better for your own personal career growth, but then your company has a certified person in Marketo Engage, Analytics, AEM, Commerce, Workfront, whatever it may be.
Awesome. So I suppose anyone that's across, any of the Adobe tech stacks there, like, as you mentioned, sort of the Commerce or AEM or Marketo, can come, obviously get it on the business account, come to Summit, learn a load of things, and whilst they're there, also get the free certification as well, obviously pending the exam. Awesome. Yeah. I didn't know that, man. I tell you what, it's who you know, isn't it? Thanks for that insight, Brad. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Brad, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think, just from knowing you and your reputation in the industry, I know you're a busy guy, so it was a real privilege getting you on today. If anyone is going to Summit or has any questions about Marketo, I cannot recommend speaking to Brad enough. He'll point you in the right direction. And yeah, Brad, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Brilliant. Catch you later, Brad.
Bye-bye.